Amazake is sweet even without adding sugar. It's a mysterious drink, but in Japan, it's said to be as nutritious as an IV drip. It actually contains almost no alcohol, so even children can drink it, and it can also be used as a sweetener in various dishes. Today, I will show you how to make amazake, a traditional Japanese drink. In fact, it is said that in the past, amazake was made as a side business by sake breweries in Japan during the summer when they had less work to do. Amazake is rich in glucose, amino acids, B vitamins, oligosaccharides, and dietary fiber. Its nutritional value is enhanced through fermentation, making it easy to digest and absorb. I often use amazake in cooking and desserts, but when I'm tired or feeling weak, I dilute amazake with water and drink it as is. Doing this makes me feel as if my energy is being restored. I hope that people all around the world will give making this wonderfully nutritious amazake a try. In this video, I will first explain what amazake is, then go over the ingredients, and after that, I'll show you how to make amazake by natural fermentation in a pot, as well as how to make it using a yogurt maker. If you want to jump straight to the recipe, please use the timestamps in the description to skip to the section you're interested in. So, let's begin. Let me explain why amazake is sweet. The main ingredient in amazake is rice koji. So, what exactly is rice koji? It's a type of tiny mold that grows on rice called Koji mold. Koji mold has supported Japanese fermented foods and cuisine for thousands of years. This mold has an amazing ability. It breaks down starch, specifically the starch found in rice. When it breaks down the starch, it turns into glucose. Glucose is sweet, isn't it? That's why amazake becomes sweet. Actually, we have the same ability in our mouths. When you chew rice, it starts to taste sweet, right? It's the same thing. Rice koji uses the same power to turn the starch in rice into sweet glucose. Amazake is very rich in nutrients. It contains B vitamins, amino acids, glucose, oligosaccharides, dietary fiber, and more, and has long been an important drink in Japan. It's especially known for its effectiveness in relieving fatigue, and I personally have experienced this effect. I explain more about Koji mold in another video, so if you haven't seen it yet, please be sure to check it out later. Let me introduce the ingredients you'll need to make amazake. Both of the methods I'll be showing you today require rice koji. There are two types of rice koji. First, there's fresh raw rice koji and dried rice koji. Fresh rice koji may be hard to find overseas, so I recommend searching for dried rice koji online. I'll also include a link in the description to the rice koji I found on Amazon, so please check it out. When using dried rice koji, rub it between your hands to break up the grains one by one. If you don't do this, the grains will stick together and fermentation won't go well. Now, for those who don't have a yogurt maker, I'll show you how to make amazake using a pot. Unlike shiokoji, which contains a lot of salt, amazake is more prone to the growth of lactic acid bacteria due to the lower fermentation temperature during natural fermentation. As a result, it can sometimes turn sour. I've experienced this myself. Temperature control is extremely important, so please be careful not to let the temperature get too low. The ingredients are 200 grams of dried rice koji and 150 grams of rice. This is uncooked rice. Prepare 650 milliliters of water. First, we'll cook rice porridge using the uncooked rice. Wash the rice thoroughly and drain it well. Put the uncooked washed rice into a pot. Add 650 milliliters of water, cover with a lid, and heat over low heat. Once it comes to a boil, continue heating for about 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, turn off the heat and let it steam thoroughly with the lid on. With this, the rice porridge is ready. If you add the rice malt directly to the hot porridge, the temperature will be too high and the enzymes won't work. So let the porridge cool down. Use a thermometer to check that it has cooled to about 55 degrees Celsius. Once cooled, add the crumbled rice malt to the porridge. Stir well to ensure the rice malt and porridge are evenly mixed. Then put the lid on. Since you need to keep the pot warm, layer 2 or 3 sheets of newspaper over it and then cover that with a bath towel or some other cloth. If you have an electric blanket, wrapping the pot with it is also a good idea. Alternatively, you can put it in a home bag or place it on top of an electric carpet. Leave it as is for about 8 to 12 hours. Stir it 2 or 3 times during that period. Doing this will help the fermentation proceed evenly. After about 8 hours, open the lid. If you smell a sweet aroma, it's a success. If the rice has swollen and become soft, your amazake is ready. Taste a little with a spoon. If it's sweet, it's done. One characteristic of this method is that you need to manage the temperature yourself, which can be a bit of a hassle. However, the advantage is that you can easily make amazake even without a yogurt maker or similar equipment. Additionally, you can make a larger quantity at once compared to using a yogurt maker. Now I will explain how to make amazake using a yogurt maker. This method is the easiest and least likely to fail. First, let's go over the ingredients. You'll need 200 grams of dried rice koji and about 320 grams of cooked rice, 1 cup. Please prepare 400 milliliters of water. Rub the dried rice koji between your hands to break up each grain. If the grains are stuck together, the fermentation won't go well. Please separate them carefully. Next, put the cooked rice into a sterilized container. It's fine to use the rice while it's still warm. Add 400 milliliters of water, then mix thoroughly. What's important here is that the rice and water are evenly mixed. If the rice remains hard, the fermentation won't go well. Measure the temperature of the mixed rice and water. Check it with a thermometer. If it's too warm, let it cool down a bit. Once the temperature is appropriate, add the crumbled rice malt. Mix even more thoroughly so that the rice malt, rice, and water are evenly combined. Put the mixture into the yogurt maker's container, close the lid tightly, and set it in the main unit. Set the temperature to 55 degrees. Set the timer for 8 hours and press the start button. Now all you have to do is wait. If you prepare it at night, it will ferment while you sleep and be ready by morning. After 8 hours, open the lid. If you smell a sweet aroma, it's a success. For an even smoother texture, it's very convenient to blend it with a blender. You can use it for a variety of purposes such as desserts or cooking. Please store the amazake you made in the refrigerator. The main feature of fermenting with a yogurt maker is that the temperature is automatically controlled, making it the easiest method with almost no risk of failure. However, the amount you can make at one time may be less than with a pot. Let me explain how to store the amazake you made. Basically, it should be stored in the refrigerator. When kept in the fridge, amazake will stay delicious for about 3 days. Amazake does not keep as well as things like shio koji. Please be careful about this. If you want to store it for a longer period, please freeze it. Put it into small freezer bags like Ziploc and place them in the freezer. This way you can store it for over a month. When you want to drink or use it, thaw it slowly in the refrigerator. Alternatively, you can warm it up and drink it. However, if you heat it above 60 degrees Celsius, the beneficial enzymes will start to break down. If you have a yogurt maker, I recommend using it. It's the easiest way and you won't fail. That's because the temperature is automatically controlled. If you don't have a yogurt maker, try making it in a pot. Alternatively, you can also make it with a rice cooker. However, if you just leave the pot on a heated carpet, the temperature might drop a bit, so please be careful. I'm not sure if it's sold in the fermented food section of overseas supermarkets, but I do occasionally see it available online. I think dried rice koji is generally sold overseas. I'll put a link in the description, so please check it out. Rice koji, rice, and water alone are enough to make it sweet. No sugar is added. The power of rice koji serves the same role as sugar. When fermenting naturally, temperature control is very important. If possible, please prepare a thermometer. If the temperature is off, it can easily lead to failure. You can drink the amazake as it is, or chill it and mix it with ice and water to enjoy in the summer. And in winter, it's also nice to warm it up before drinking. However, please be careful not to heat it above 60 degrees Celsius. The beneficial enzymes will be destroyed. It can also be used frequently in cooking. You can use it as a substitute for sugar, and it's also great for making sweets. You can add it to smoothies or mix it into yogurt as well. For people overseas who aren't used to drinking amazake, they might mainly use it in cooking. Sometimes you might fail when making amazake. I'll explain 3 main examples of failure and how to deal with them. First, the most common case is that the amazake turns out sour. The cause of this is that the fermentation temperature is too low, If the fermentation temperature drops below 50 degrees Celsius, microorganisms called lactic acid bacteria tend to multiply. Lactic acid bacteria are bacteria that produce an acid called lactic acid. The sourness of foods like yogurt and kimchi is due to these lactic acid bacteria. When lactic acid bacteria multiply, amazake becomes sour. The ideal fermentation temperature for making amazake is between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. It's important to maintain this temperature consistently. If you make it in a pot, the temperature tends to drop during the keeping warm stage, so please be careful. If it does become sour, it's okay to drink it if the sourness is mild. If the sourness is strong, please do not drink it and throw it away. This is because there may be an increase in unwanted bacteria. If you end up with slightly sour amazake, mixing it with yogurt or adding it to fruit to make a smoothie can make it easier to drink. Alternatively, you can add it to miso soup or combine it with miso to use in cooking. The key is to pair it with other sour ingredients. The second example of a failed batch is when the amazake isn't sweet. The cause of this is that the temperature is too high. If the fermentation temperature exceeds 70 degrees Celsius, the enzymes in the rice malt become deactivated. Deactivation means that the enzymes stop working. Once the enzymes stop working, they won't become active again even if you lower the temperature. Therefore, it's important to make sure the temperature does not rise above 70 degrees. If you notice that the temperature has gotten too high, try lowering it immediately. If you act quickly, the enzymes may still be working a little. This cause is due to not stirring. By stirring 2 or 3 times during fermentation, sweetness develops. Why is that? Stirring allows the enzymes in the rice malt to come into full contact with the starch. The longer they are in contact, the more the starch is broken down into glucose. Also, by stirring, you can make the temperature of the entire amazake uniform. When the temperature is uniform, the enzymes work more effectively. Here are some solutions if your amazake turns out not sweet. The first solution is to stir it well and then ferment it again. Try extending the fermentation time by 1 hour at a time and check if it becomes sweeter. A third common mistake is that the amazake develops a rotten smell. The cause of this is that the containers or utensils are not clean. The solution is to thoroughly wash the containers and utensils you use with detergent. If possible, sterilize them with boiling water. Alternatively, you can also use alcohol for sterilization. The method is simple. Just put the utensils in a heat-resistant bowl and pour boiling water over them. For items that go directly into the amazake, like thermometers or chopsticks, be sure to wash them immediately after use. Also, it's important to keep your work surface and kitchen clean. If your amazake develops a rotten smell, please throw it away without drinking it. If you feel something strange or unpleasant when you drink it, that's a warning sign. Trust your instincts and throw it away. There are 3 key points to successfully making amazake. The first point is to carefully control the temperature. The second point is to stir it 2 or 3 times during the process. And the third point is to use clean containers and utensils. If you follow these 3 points, you will almost never fail. Making amazake is actually easier than you might think. Homemade amazake has a unique deliciousness that you can't get from store-bought versions. Amazake made with Koji is also very nutritious. I hope you'll learn to make it easily and add its sweetness and umami to your daily meals. Thank you very much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support us. We appreciate it.